Hello everyone. Welcome to our first webinar series. We're excited to have with us Dr. Brenda Oldham. She's going to be going over tax strategies for small and mid-sized businesses, and we're really excited about this opportunity that we have to have her with us to give us some tips and strategies for how to address maybe last year to get your taxes ready for filing for 2025, and then what we can do going forward to make sure our life is a whole lot better and easier as an entrepreneur. So I'm going to bring her on. Let's see here. There you go. Dr. Oldham, how are you doing?
I am good. How are you doing this morning, Stephen?
I'm doing well. Thanks for asking. And we're really excited about being able to do this. It's been a dream of mine to have some of our members come on. Of course, she is a member of BlackBusinessList.com. And so I've been reaching out and trying to find amazing people like her to come on and just share her knowledge and wisdom. And we've been talking. I think you're going to be excited about what we're cooking up. So thank you for agreeing to do this.
And Stephen, I just want to say I am delighted to be on your show. I consider it a privilege because I know what a guru you are when it comes to that media and putting all those things together. And so I take my hat off to you to even invite your members to be able to participate in your show. So thank you very much.
All right. Well, thank you. So we're going to be talking about tax strategies. This is, I guess, the time that, a lot of people start talking about it. But we had a previous conversation and you said that people actually should start thinking about it as soon as possible because there are some things that we could be doing throughout the year. And I'm pretty sure we'll touch on that in the presentation. But anything you want to say about that real quick?
Yeah, I just want business owners to know that the IRS can shut your business down. So if you have not paid your taxes, you can get audited and it can actually hurt the business. So I'm happy that we are going to be starting off with business strategies because business strategies is that framework for paying your tax obligations. However, it's also a framework for not overpaying. And see, there's things that we can do as business owners, not only throughout the year, but one thing that the IRS gives us, time to fix our problem from the previous year. So usually our taxes aren't officially due until, April 15th. And that's why this segment that we're starting with is critical. I don't know about you, but every year I have these wonderful, not only personal goals, but business goals. Mm-hmm. And on the top of the list is growth. And you cannot grow if you don't have your records in place, if you don't understand tax strategies. Well, you could grow, however, but I guess I should say it won't be sustainable resilience growth. And that's what we're going to help you to understand.
Awesome. Well, I think we need to get into the slideshow. I'm excited about it because I know that there are a lot of entrepreneurs who are not thinking about some of this stuff that you have put together, and so let's go ahead and bring that up. So again, we're with Dr. Brenda Oldham, if you're just joining us, and she's going to be sharing with us some tax strategies for small businesses, and she's with RAM Educational Business Solutions. And she's also a BlackBusinessList.com member. And, it's always been my dream for us to get together and have our very talented members come together and just share with us. So let's get into it. I'm going to advance here. And again, we're with Dr. Brenda Oldham. She's the CEO and owner, certified financial fiduciary, author of Grandma Nana Piggy Bank. And I've got a copy, guys, waiting for me in my mailbox. I got to get it. Money saving tips, a financial literacy wellness guide. It's very interesting. The story behind that book. I don't know if you want to get into that here right now to tell us a little bit about why you wrote that book.
Yeah, there's a section that's dedicated for business owners. And if you get this book, you'll see some mistakes that I personally made. I consider myself actually a financial literacy expert. But the reason behind this book is no matter how well you plan or how good you are with your finances, we realize that there's certain things that can come up in our lives that will make us have to step backwards and fix it. And I'll give you an example. You might have a family member who has a illness that does not allow them to continue to work.
Hmm.
If that happens, maybe that family member, you're depending on their income to pay the bills, right? So what do you do? How do you make those adjustments? You get behind on your mortgage. And if you're owning a business and you're renting space, maybe you can't even go to work, right? What's sustainability? What are the procedures? What are the processes in your business that allows you to continue operating even if you weren't there? So I'm going to share a personal story myself. In 2023, my husband suffered a aorta dissection, and we were in Massachusetts area. I was at the Tuck University going through an executive program, and so his aunt lives in Massachusetts, and we thought, well, great, we can see her. You can go do that while I'm in my training. Well, he suffered an aorta dissection on June 27th, 1923. It left him, actually, he was in a coma. He was there for 6 weeks. So I live in the state of Michigan. So I had to be gone for 6 weeks.
Mm.
And during that time, I didn't even know if he would make it through. And so, how does a business function without the owner there? Those are things that we help you understand. That's why this book is so important. And then, financially, my parents weren't not prepared when my mother died when I was a child. So I want people to know that, yes, things are going to happen in your life. And this financial wellness guide, you can flip through the chapter, you can read the whole book, but then there's going to be times when you might have to focus in on a chapter. So I hope everyone enjoyed the book. For those who are going to participate in our segments, who are truly learning, who want to learn how to improve their business and grow it, we will make sure that you have the tools and a guide to sustain your business.
Awesome. Well, I can't wait to dive into it. I know that just based off our conversations and what you've told me about it, I'm leaving here as soon as we get done and go get it. And I have to
All
because
right.
there's a storm coming in Atlanta. We're not used to rain
Oh,
and sleet and snow.
no, you're not used to that. You have to move to the state of Michigan. It's 5 degrees here,
Oh my
Stephen.
goodness. Oh, 5 degrees. Oh,
Yes.
I couldn't imagine. Oh boy. Oh, and by the way, I do want to make sure that we acknowledge there's some members of BlackBusinessList.com in California and in the LA area, and I got to reach out to them today as well to see how they're doing because it's
Yes.
been a tragedy happening right now in LA with the fires. But
Yeah. Our prayers go out to them. I know
abs-
someone personally who house burned down to the ground, but her daughter is okay. So we're thankful and grateful for that.
yes, yes. All right. So these smart tax strategies for small businesses. Um, Share with us what you got for us today.
Well, we're starting from the beginning. Every business starts because a person has a a vision, right? Or they have a passion, or they experience something and they go, wow, this is something that I need to fix. So when you think about your vision, it needs to be more than just here. That vision needs to be written down. And you might say, well, why is that under tax strategies? You are looking to grow your business. You're looking to capture the market, but you want to do it in a organized way, right? So that vision is part of your business plan. Let's write that down. So we're going to write our vision down. Then we have a mission. The mission drives everything about your business. It actually sets you apart. So your vision can be something that comes from the CEO, but the mission is why we do our business. And so your clients need to understand that mission. And so we're going to have that. That's part of your tax strategy as well. And then values. What are your core values? I try to, when I'm coaching or providing business consultant for my business owners, I want them to at least come up with 4 core values. Those core values are going to drive your business, but it's also going to be part of your culture. So as you're hiring your employees and people want to be part of that business, they need to know the values. When you
Yes.
interview those people, make sure they know that. So all of that will help you with determining, how do I pay my taxes, my liability, but also have ways to generate revenue and strategies to not overpay.
I love that. I love that you put that in here because, as you said, you know, incorporating, making sure that you're paying attention to the vision, your mission, and your values would not only help you with your tax strategies, but help you overall run your business and be effective in your business. I think about some information I came across not too long ago about having values and publicizing your values as the CEO, as the owner of the business, so that it makes it so much easier for other people to engage with you. Because
Right.
once they know who you are and what you're about, they know how to approach you. They know how not to approach you. You know, if I've
Okay.
stated my values and I put it out there, then you know that not to come with me with things that I wouldn't appreciate, I wouldn't value. And so it makes it a lot easier for your employees. It makes it a lot easier for people that want to partner with you because they kind of already know that information. You don't have to educate them because you put it out there. Maybe you're doing videos on LinkedIn or on social media. Maybe you're doing press releases and just putting your values out there. It helps identify it helps attract people to you that should be attracted to you. So thank you for putting that in there. And
I agree
guys,
with you.
anybody else, if you have any questions, if you watch this webinar and you have questions for Dr. Oldham, we'll have ways for you to reach out. Of course, you can go to BlackBusinessList.com and look her up there, find all of her information. But we'll make it very, very easy for you to reach out. So let's go here now. This one,
I
understanding.
wanted to talk about, I wanted to mention, go back to that other
Okay,
slide.
yeah,
Okay. So when you think about the mission here for this presentation that you and I are doing, Stephen,
hmm
we want to guide and educate small businesses. And I was so happy when you reached out to me to, give me the opportunity to become a member, because you have a lot of different business owners, Black business owners, who are dynamic people. And so our role today is to make sure that we can guide them in the right direction, but also to educate them. That's all I wanted to say to
yes,
that.
yes, agreed. Okay, understanding
Okay.
business structures.
Yeah, I think this is pretty important. And you may not know when you first start your business what type of entity you want to be. Um, the most simple entity is to be a sole proprietor. And of course, a sole proprietor is responsible for all their expenses. They're also responsible for, or liabilities, you kind of say, of driving that compensation or making sure that there's income. And so if you mess up as a sole proprietor, the only person that you can blame is yourself, right?
That's right.
Um, However, it's simple because you don't have to worry about a lot of employees. You can actually file your taxes on your individual tax, personal tax return. So that's one entity. Another entity that's similar, but I didn't put it on here, would be a partnership. And sometimes you choose to be in a partnership so that you can share. You can share in the expenses. But if you share in the expenses, you got to share in the wealth too, right?
That's right.
So it usually is 50-50. And so you have to be careful who you choose to be your partner because you can't, you're doing everything together. And if the partner screws up, guess who's held responsible as well?
Mm-hmm.
Because you form that partnership. So those are some things that you want to think about. But it does save in the expenses, especially let's say if you have brick and a mortar, meaning that you have a building and you need to pay the rent or you need to pay the mortgage, then that partner will share in helping you do that. So that's one. The other thing that most people can understand is just a corporation. When you look at a large corporation, maybe located in Atlanta or located in the state of Michigan, that corporation is its own entity. So none of the employees are held responsible for those debts. It goes right under the company. And then you'll see here that we have S Corp. So small business owners might start off this way. They might start off as a sole proprietor. They may choose to be a LLC. Now, LLC gives you a little bit broader way of not tying everything to your personal return. However, there is still double taxation. And we're not
Mm.
going to get into double taxation because that is something for your tax professional. The S Corp could be the next step up. So as that business grow, let's say it starts off as a sole proprietor, then that business realize, well, I think I want to be a LLC. So they form an LLC. And then they look and they go, wow, I'm making so much money, but I'm getting double taxation here. So I need to change my structure. So that's why it says understanding business structures and taxes, because the taxes are paid differently. And so they decide to become an S Corp. When you do decide to do that, I do recommend that you sit down with a person who's knowledgeable with the different tax structures and strategies, perhaps their business consultant, and then they will direct you on, maybe what tools and maybe another individual might be brought in, attorney might be brought in, a CPA might be brought in. However, as you decide to make that decision, I would recommend that you do sit down with someone who's very knowledgeable with working with business owners.
Hmm. Just to ask you a question for there may be somebody watching, would you say that that is a natural progression? Like if you start off as let's say you're bootstrapping your business and you don't have like a pot of money sitting aside for you to, structure your business properly. you're saying that it is okay to start out as a sole proprietor, get to a certain point, then the next step up would be LLC, and then you can move on to S corp if you want to. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, I think a sole proprietor has probably the most flexibility, um, and it's simple to start it. There's documents that have to be filed to be a LLC. I also encourage that whether you're a sole proprietor, LLC, S corp, pick a name. Pick a name because you want to separate the business from your personal. So pick a name, make sure you can open up an account where the funds are, kept separately.
Hmm. And would they need to file a DBA, or how is that? Do you know about that
So,
part of the process?
yeah, so here's a DBA can, let's say you have a company that you start off, and I'll just use my own example. I started off as RAM Insurance Agency. From RAM Insurance Agency, we created a DBA doing business as RAM Insurance and Financial Services. So I noticed that you, Stephen, you have different branches of what you do in your business.
Hmm.
If that seems to be a part that is a significant part, you might choose to name it as a DBA, but you continue to use the parent company or that bigger umbrella where you started.
Yes.
Because each time you file, there's filing fees, right?
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
accountabilities. But a DBA can fall under the same entity filing if it's done correctly.
All right. And so, yeah, that's what we suggest when you get ready to do all this stuff, that you reach out to a tax professional such as yourself, so that you can help guide and direct people to make the proper steps. Because it can be kind of complicated if you're not used to dealing with all of this. So thank you for that
Yeah,
guidance there. Are you ready for the next slide, or do we?
I was going to say the IRS is a good resource too, because if you think about it, they provide the right forms that can be completed. So um, it kind of helps you along. So you can actually change your business structure from an LLC to an S corp. In saying that, every state has different laws that governs for doing business in that state, right?
Hmm.
So we have accountability to the Internal Revenue Service, which is the federal government. We also have accountability to our state. Also, there are certain different municipalities or townships that might expect even more, especially if you're going to be in a building. So there's a lot to it. So that's why my recommendation is you need someone who's very good at when it comes to finances, business consulting. You also need someone who understands the tax laws, and you may need a lawyer, especially depending on the entity that you select. Um, but I'm finding there's a lot of things right out there and different software programs that can help you with some of the legal, but it doesn't take away from maybe consulting with that attorney on a maybe lower level so that you can save yourself some money.
Absolutely. All right. Moving along, we've got essential tax deductions for small businesses. The deductions.
Now, this is probably my favorite slide that we're going to talk about. You might go, wow, why would that be your favorite? slide, because look at the word essential. The average person doesn't want to pay taxes, right?
Right.
There are deductions, however, that they perhaps are missing that really could benefit the business. And therefore, they're paying more taxes than they need to. And one of them, we're going to start off with home office. Um, some of us work out of our home. Just working out of your home a couple of days doesn't necessarily mean that that's truly a home office. So you need to talk to your tax professional about that. Um, there are times that people actually have a office to go to, but for some reason, they get the luxury of working from home. So those things need to be discussed with a tax professional.
Hmm.
Now, let's go to the next thing, equipment costs. What is your equipment to run your business? You know, some of us need to make sure that we have a copier, a laptop. I'm looking at you, Stephen, and you got a microphone. You probably can't do your business without that, right?
That's right.
So those, yeah, so those are equipment costs. So those are essential. The IRS understands that you have to have equipment to be able to run that business. Now, travel expenses, this is something that people get themselves in trouble with. Sometimes people like to fudge, oh, I went to go, I'm here, in the Bahamas, visiting a relative or something like that. You don't want to get carried away. We do know that there is travel expenses. Now, I'm hoping to travel to Atlanta, Georgia on business. And if our group continues to grow, maybe we'll have, a networking in Atlanta. That
Hmm.
would be awesome
Hmm.
because I love Atlanta, number one. And I get to deduct those travel expenses because it truly will be business expenses. And then
Right.
the other thing that I try to encourage business owners is to have some employee benefits. Even as a sole proprietor, you can have an employee benefit. And what would that be? Perhaps health insurance, right?
Hmm.
Health insurance can be, that's an expense because that owner needs to be able to have that. As you grow, your employee benefits may expand to something like having an employee where you offer a retirement plan. But if it does not, and you happen to be a sole proprietor or you happen to be an independent contractor, you need to have retirement benefits. Those retirement benefits are deductible. Here's an example of a retirement benefit. I am a sole proprietor. I am a plumber. And I want to keep it simple because every person that I've tried to get to help me seems to screw things up and don't care as much as I do. So therefore, I choose to be a sole proprietor, and I don't mind. However, I still need to plan for my retirement. So when you're have a plumbing business and maybe you're only in your 30s, you probably feel really good after working. But maybe you have a plumbing business and you're in your 50s, you start feeling aches and pain. And you look up and you say, I didn't save enough for retirement. So put something in an IRA, put something in a SEP IRA. Now, which one is better? You need to consult with a financial professional. A financial professional will make sure you choose the right retirement plan. So this webinar that Stephen and I are doing is based on financial education. However, we want to give you resources so that if you have questions on anything that we're sharing today, you can reach out to Stephen, you can reach out to myself, and we will point you in the right direction. So employee benefits are important. Do not be a business that doesn't have employee benefits, whether it's just you or you have employees as well. And then the last one is mileage deduction. Um, if your job requires to go from maybe you're a consultant, or perhaps you're a salesperson, or perhaps you are someone who has to go from one place to another for that job, that's considered mileage. That is so important. That will reduce your taxes.
Yeah, kind of keep everything, and I think that I want to encourage anybody that just staying away from it because it's complicated, because it's not really, it's the business side of it. Maybe you started doing something because you were passionate about something and people said that you were good at it and you started doing it for people and they started paying you and it just turned into a business. You weren't necessarily thinking about starting a business. It happened because you were very good at doing something. You still have to pay attention to the business side because as you're taking in income from various sources, what she's saying is that you can shoot yourself in the foot because you're not setting things up properly. And it maybe doesn't have to be as painful as you think because there are a lot of deductions and things that you could take advantage of that you're not aware of. So consulting with that professional is very, very important.
Yes.
Yeah. So let's go ahead here. Are we ready for the next slide?
Yes, we are.
Okay. Oh, record keeping. I've been so my wife. This is funny about. I got a funny story about this. My wife would just criticize me all the time. She's like, where's the receipt? Did you keep a receipt for that? And I think I've talked to accountants throughout the years who had these horror stories of their clients coming in with these big boxes full of just receipts. That was their method of record keeping. But I think you're going to talk about some more 2024, 2025 methods of record keeping. Might make it a little easier than just throwing everything in the box, even though that's pretty simple. But
Right.
not so good for the professional that's working with you.
No, it's not. There's a part in my book that I talk about sloppy budgeting, which is like sloppy joes. Sloppy joes, I mean, I love sloppy joes. I mean, I like the sauce and everything, but it can be pretty messy, right?
Right.
And record keeping is so important. And I know, all of us have different skills. Some of us are very good at using, QuickBooks or whatever software program. Some of us are not that good. Maybe a simple spreadsheet, you know, anything that's going to allow you to stay organized. Um, and why this is, I think about this why this you're talking about the person comes with that box. I literally had a gentleman who he put in a fireplace for me, Stephen. This was 20 years ago because he came with the box and said, I got to go to my accountant. And she told me to keep good records, and I didn't keep good records. Can you create this spreadsheet for me? And so I did. And as a result, he was so happy. He said, saw that fireplace upstairs in that bedroom, and you don't have to pay a penny. I thought, wow, that's pretty
Wow.
good.
Yeah.
So this is, I would say if you don't do anything, do a simple month to month spreadsheet. Everyone can do that. Make sure that you have files and it's easy. January, February. I mean, we all get busy and we do get sloppy, but you got to know where everything's at, right? It
Hmm.
can't just be thrown into a box. It should be organized. So, in doing that, it's going to, I'm a person who like to put things on a schedule and alerts for myself. because if I don't, I'll forget. So I put everything on the calendar to remind me of the timely updates of things that I need to take care of on a regular basis. And as I mentioned before, is digital tools are important. Learn how to use them. If you can't use them, find a basic bookkeeper who can help you with those digital tools. And then the other thing is backup copies. There's nothing more frustrating than you can't find your receipts. Here it is, April 14th or April 12th, and you're close to filing your taxes, but you don't have the right record keeping. You haven't put those things in place. They're not organized. Yeah.
Yeah. And there are tools that will allow you to digitally take a photo of your receipts, or I guess you could just do that yourself with your phone. Just take a photo of your receipt and keep a copy that way as well.
I like that. You're right. That would probably be the easiest way. And our phones today are so sophisticated, Stephen, that we can take a picture, forward it over, save it,
Hmm.
and categorize it for the different months. Um, I always have someone help me with this part. Um, I used to consider myself a good multitasker, but I finally learned that it's best to have people focus in on this, even if it's, like you said, your wife asks you, where's that receipt? Even having someone in your household who's willing to organize those for you, that's a time saver. And it's also going to help you do a better job when it comes to tax strategies. So, one of the tax strategies that we're saying today is having a record keeping best practice, making sure that your documentations are in place.
Yes. All right. Ready for the next slide?
I am.
All right. Quarterly tax
Okay.
payments.
So we're going to take some time on this slide. It's not as complicated as it may look. The best way to tell your income, now, if you're brand new business and this is your first year, it's going to be a little bit more difficult. What you're going to have to do is have a business plan as to what income that you're targeting to make. Okay, so that's a little bit different. But for someone like myself who's been in business, I know how much I made last year, right?
Hmm.
So if I know how much I made, that's going to help me estimate what I want to make in 2025. Now, do I want to make the same thing that I made in 2024?
No.
No, I want to make more. I want to do my projection. So, along with me looking at my balance sheet, my income statement, my profit and loss statement, I am going to look at the taxes that were filed in 2024. If it's too early and you still need to look at 2023, that's fine. I like going back 2 years. That's why they let you estimate, right? And guess who else is looking at your income? The IRS. So that's why this is important. So let's say, and I'm going to keep the numbers very simple. So we're going to look at, let's say that we made, $40,000 a year or 40,000 last year. And our goal is to double that this year. Well, we have to anticipate a realistic plan of how we're going to get that additional income. But we're going to look at that income and we're going to divide it by 12. Then the IRS sets your tax rate. It's not something you make up. You literally can look, if you have a good tax preparer, on that tax return, it will tell you what your tax rate is. And if you don't know what the tax rate is, then go to the IRS website and look at that range and put the tax rate in there. So that tax rate is going to tell you what do you have to pay every quarter. So estimated taxes are paid quarterly, and you're going to pay them for 2025 4 times, okay? Now, if you know that you are behind and you have not paid your taxes, please start addressing it right now. Some people will set it up where, they have an alert and they may have their account linked to their account that they set up with the IRS or with their state, if you're paying federal and state taxes, and they will allow that money to automatically come out. There are others, like myself, who do not want anybody taking anything out of my account until I tell them to take it out. But either way, do something. Now, what if I'm a little bit short and I really can't pay? Let's say my estimated taxes are $1,200 and I don't have $1,200. Would it be like, okay, well, I'm going to skip? No, pay something. Maybe you have $400, pay it. And maybe you can catch up in between the next quarterly tax payment.
Yes. Important.
And we're going to talk about ways to reduce that tax credit, but at this, I just wanted you to know that it's very important to pay it. And yes, you need to pay quarterly. And we talked earlier that we can have different tax deductions that are essential. So think back on the previous slide. What are your essential tax deductions? Write them down. Or make sure that you do include them, or if you haven't used them, use those. Every business owner needs benefits. Every business owner needs benefits, no matter what type of entity you are. Find out what benefits should be part of your business and go to a financial professional and make sure they help you with that.
Mm-hmm. Sage advice, wise words, for sure. I'm glad. I know you're speaking to someone. I know you are. And so I think the message here is to not ignore it, not put it off, but deal with it right away. We were speaking earlier, and you were talking about the penalties that can just start to add up and just kind of make this very problematic. The more you delay. So thank you again for sharing that, because I know that there are folks out there who need to hear it. So.
And I just wanted to share this story. So I know a gentleman, he is very good at what he does. Matter of fact, he makes good money. So has anyone ever needed a plumber? I have.
Oh, yes.
Now, when you call and ask for a plumber, do you say, how much are you going to charge? Or do you say, when can you come?
When can you come? I need you right now.
I need you now. Okay. So this individual made really, really good money, and they made so much money that they got themselves in a tax situation. Now, it's like the IRS, Stephen, they don't want to get you when you only owe a little bit of taxes. They always want to wait like 3 years, and you get this notice, and then they say, oh yeah, for the past 3 years, and you're wondering, well, why didn't you tell me before? And then when you see that notice, it has all these penalties on it.
Yeah.
And then they don't only want to put a penalty, they want to put interest. So the individual end up being audited for record keeping and had to pay like $36,000. That's a lot of money.
Yes.
And when they ask for that, do you think they say, oh, we'll give you 2, 3 years to pay that? No, they want it like ASAP.
Mm.
And they can put a lien on your house. Yeah, they can put a lien on your house, the state. So we had to figure out a way. As I mentioned before, I help business owners. I help them not only understand their profit loss statements, finances, tax strategies. So we had to figure out a way to satisfy the IRS, to organize with better record keeping, to add employee benefits so that we would not get in this situation again.
Hmm.
The business owner had to actually take money or equity out of their home to be able to pay this. And when this happens, it not only affects your business because you're all stressed out, and it takes time because you have to get these things in order. But it also affects your ability to be growing for other opportunities because you're spending a lot of time trying to fix a problem. So Stephen and I want to help you as business owners. We want you, if you're going to be listening to this as a recording because you weren't able to be live, we want to invite you to our next sessions because we like to have the interaction. And we want all the business owners that are part of and members to be able to be successful, to grow and not have to worry about, tax problems. So,
Yes. Um, I'm excited about this because I know that there are a lot of folks in our directory, in our group, who started the business, and I was just speaking with someone actually from California last week, and she said she just started her business. She just started making these purses, and people started liking them, and she started selling them, and she did like a trade show, and it got a table, a booth at an event, and it just grew from there. And so now it's a regular business. And so, folks, don't just, a lot of folks don't just wake up saying, hey, I want to be in business. It just happens. But just like
yeah.
entertainers, we had to learn. And entertainers had to learn that there's show business, right? And so many entertainers would just do what they do. They dance, they sing, and they would just kind of not worry about the business side. And we hear all of these horror stories of people who, because they weren't paying attention to the business part of show business, they had less than desirable outcomes. So, I think it's important. I thank you for sharing your information with us and cracking the whip on us and just making sure that we're all doing what we need to do and to not take this stuff lightly because, it could really dampen your whole experience as an entrepreneur having to solve these problems that were really avoidable. Right.
And, and thank you for saying that, Stephen. Um, I'm from the state of Michigan, and one of the things that we're so proud of, have you ever heard of Magic Johnson?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
So not only was he a very good basketball player, Magic Johnson is also known as one of the best entrepreneurs. And you can do and research this. But one of the things he said, and he's from Lansing, Michigan, originally, and that's only, 45 minutes from where I live. He said that financial literacy education is so important he said because of a lack of financial literacy education, it cost him $1 million. Now you might say, for Magic Johnson, $1 million is not that much. However, I want to ask you, how much is the lack of financial literacy education costing you? So these webinars are very important. You can watch them. We want you to, of course, be part of the webinar, but you can watch it in your spare time. So we don't want financial literacy education to cost you. So.
Yes. All right. I think, are we stopping here for today or are we keeping going? You're the boss.
Well, I think that the next time, Stephen, we'll get into the tax credits because there's credits out there for business owners and especially small businesses. We're always looking for opportunities, whether it's grants, whereas certain things that we can do that we should be doing that could actually allow us to grow our business and not pay a lot of money out of our pocket. And then we'll get into the tax deadlines next time and the importance of accurate bookkeeping and, how to handle an IRS audit. Maybe you're dealing with an IRS audit and you need to know how to handle that. And so we definitely want to get into that with our next session. And if you weren't able to join us and you did not ask any questions, however, you do have questions, we want you to be able to get those questions answered. And so I want you to know my contact information as well so that I can help you. If you are a member and say your business again, Stephen, because I don't want to screw it up.
There's BlackBusinessList.com and there's Stephen Wicks Internet Development Company.
Okay, so if you're part of that Black
Business
business yeah, become an active member because you can be a member but not active. Because if you're not active, then you're missing out on a lot of education and growth. This is all about helping each other. We know that there's many of you that are members who are very successful with what you do, and we need your input and we need your knowledge. So, my book, if we can, we'll go back to that slide and show that as well. But I'm Dr. Brenda Oldham, and one of the passions of mine, even though I own two different businesses, is educational business solutions, along with the fact that, as you can see, I'm a certified financial fiduciary. And so when it comes to employee benefits, we're there not only to educate you, but we're also there to help you. And we also want to make sure that we can help you with tax strategies with your employee benefits. There's still time to contribute to retirement for 2024. And if you contribute, you're going to reduce your taxes. So that is my contact information. That is how you can get a hold of me. I am so excited to be part of Stephen Wicks' initiative to help Black businesses. We want to help Black businesses. Thank
Yes.
you, Stephen.
All right. Thank you. Thank you very much. This has been powerful. Thank you for sharing. And again, for those people, there are new businesses that are starting out that just need to hear this. And then there are folks that have been doing business for quite a while and they still need to hear it as well. So we thank you for sharing your knowledge and can't wait for the next one. So stay tuned, everyone. Look at our social media and pay attention to your emails and let us know if you're getting your emails as well. I look at our email health. You have to do that because when you send out a lot of emails, this is just a little information that some people may not know. there's something called email health. And so the folks that handle email will kind of gig you if you're sending out emails and they're bouncing, they're not really, people are not opening. So you have to have strong email health if you're sending out mass emails. A lot of people do email marketing. So anyway, sidebar, a little information tidbit. but if you're not getting your emails, let us know. It could be going to spam or anything if you're a member. But we want you to join us for our next one. I'll make sure this in advance notice so you have a lot of notice and you can be there. And you can even send your questions in if you have questions. Reach out to her. We'll have her contact information on the website, of course, and also on the social media. I'll make a comment with her contact information if you have, because these are important topics that you need to jump on immediately right away, so she can help you with that. All right, Dr. Oldham, thank you. I can't wait for the next one.
Yes, we'll see you next week. We'll keep these going, and we all 2025, happy 2025. Because we're
Absolutely.
going to grow our businesses.
Absolutely. Okay, guys. See you next time. Thanks.